So guys, good morning, and as always on a Monday morning we have new leaks from Decade. This time there are leaks concerning the October pack, so it's not about the next pack that is coming, which we know will have the Mekanko cards and also the Purili cards, but the October pack, and there is a new archetype coming, one of the bests, if not the best, that is over there working in the OCG right now, one of the bests in the TCG right now, and it's also in the same pack that were the Mekanko cards in, as well as the Purili cards, so it makes sense that we will get this archetype. Keep in mind though that the archetype that I'm showing you now, Decade said that he cannot show which cards will come in the pack, but the archetype we will get in the October pack is Rescue Ace, and I've talked about this in a video a few days ago where I went over the OCG meta with you, but I will quickly explain to you how this, like the basic thing works, what are the basic strengths of the deck. And I have to mention again, I really like the design of the cards, though keep in mind that we will probably be getting the first wave that came out in the pack, that also the Purili cards and the Mekanko cards came out. I'm not expecting the whole archetype at once, and if we will get the whole archetype at once, you can be pretty sure that this will be the strongest deck in the game. Depending on how KASHTIRA will work in Master Duel and how much limitations it will get, because right now this, you could argue, is one of the strongest slash the strongest deck in the OCG. So for the OCG you can argue it's the strongest, it's the most represented. We have seen this in the OCG metagame report that we looked through last week, and in the TCG it seems to be the case that Chimera, branded Chimera, is one of the most represented right now, but being followed by Rescue Ace, which is the second strongest one. So we can definitely say this is one of the best decks to come in the future, one of the strongest that we will get in Master Duel once the full support comes. So this is also in 2 waves. I'm not quite sure, to be honest, which cards came in the second waves. I think it was Preventer and Emergency, which are definitely super important for the deck. It's also possible that there were other cards that were coming, but I know that Preventer and Emergency, maybe even Airlifter, but I'm not quite sure, are the cards that were in the second wave and were the most important ones. So we will have to see what we will get. So what is this deck doing, and why is this deck so strong, basically? So the basic combo that you want to go for is you want to start with your Airlifter if you can. So Airlifter is basically your search card. So it says if this card is normal or special summon, you can add one Rescue Ace spell from your deck to your hand. What you then going to do is get the Emergency, which is a quick play spell that says special summon one Rescue Ace monster from your deck in defense position, then tribute one Rescue Ace monster from your hand or field. And then during the main phase you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one Rescue Ace trap in your graveyard and set it. But the second part is not the important one right now. So we have the Airlifter on the field, then we use the Emergency to get to our Hydrant, and we then tribute the Airlifter, it's somehow called Air Hoister, the Airlifter in the grave. So in the grave now we have Emergency and the Airlifter. That's important to keep in mind. Then we have the Rescue Ace Hydrant, which is basically the core card of the deck, you could say. It has 0 attack, 0 defense, and says, while you control a Rescue Ace monster other than Rescue Ace Hydrant, your opponent monsters cannot target this card for attacks. Also, your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. So, because this is so important for the bonus effects of the spells and traps here that we will look at in a moment, this is basically protected, which is really nice. And then you can only use each of the following effects of Hydrant once per turn. You can activate one quick play spell card or trap card set by your Rescue Ace cards effect the turn it was set. This I will explain in a moment. And then the next important thing in our combo is during your main phase you can add one Rescue Ace monster from your deck to your hand, except Rescue Ace Hydrant. So we have played the Airlifter, we have gotten Emergency, played Emergency, tributed Airlifter, and got the Hydrant to the field. Activate Hydrant to search another Rescue Ace card, and now we come to the boss monster, you could say, Rescue Ace Turbulence, which says you can banish 2 Rescue Ace cards from your graveyard. Keep in mind, we now have Emergency and the Airlifter in the grave, so we have 2 to banish. Special summon this card from your hand, and then during main phase, you can set up to 4 Rescue Ace quick play spells and or normal threats with different names directly from your deck. So yes, this is a fact that allows you to set 4 cards on your turn, and keep in mind that Rescue Ace Hydrant allows you, as the text says, to activate one of them in your turn, even though you have set it in your turn, which normally then you can't activate them. And then it says if another card you control leaves the field by an opponent's card effect, you can target one card on the field and destroy it. So this is your basic play. You go Airlifter into Emergency, into Hydrant, into Searching Turbulence, into Summoning Turbulence, effect of Turbulence to set normally Extinguish, Contain, Alert, and then either another emergency for follow-up or a rescue. A reinforce is not played. So we have these cards. Let's quickly watch over them. We have alert, which then you would also activate to further your combo. You can add one rescue as monster from your graveyard to your hand, or if you control rescue as hydrant, and remember this is this one here, bonus effect. Add one rescue as monster from your deck to your hand instead. And what you would then do in the following combo is you would add your preventer, and then you have another spell card into your graveyard, because preventer says you can banish one rescue ace card from a graveyard, so you would banish the alert then, and then special summon this card. This card is basically Book of Moon on a card. If you control, if you control another rescue ace monster quick effect, you can target one effect monster your opponent controls and change it to face down position, face down defense position. So when you have another rescue ace monster, this is Book of Moon. And then if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one of your banished rescue ace monsters except a level 8 and special summon it. So what's cool about this is that in a combo line, you can now use this to go to monsters into the extra deck to link summon, for example, and then this would be able to resummon your airlifter, which was banished from your turbulence summoning effect. So then you have your preventer on the field, you have your turbulence and your hydrant, and then you can make some extra deck plays, which can end on some Cybers monsters, for example, and then on your opponent's turn, you still have your emergency for follow-up, you still have contain and extinguish. Contain says if you control a rescue ace monster, target one effect monster your opponent controls. This turn, that effect monster cannot attack and its effect unnegated. And then also if you control the hydrant, again this one, then it can also not be used as a material for anything. So this is negate basically, and not be used as material, which is quite strong if there is hydrant. And then we have extinguish with if you control a rescue ace monster, target one effect monster your opponent controls, destroy it. Then if you control rescue ace hydrant, this one, this turn your opponent cannot activate the effects of the destroyed monsters or monsters with the same original name. So for example, if your opponent summons a KASHTIRA Fenrir, you extinguish the Fenrir. Then if he summons another Fenrir that he maybe had in hand, then he can not use the Fenrir's effect. So this is the like basic. Obviously there are other cards here and other combos that there are available to you. For example, your rescue ace impulse can by tributing itself from the hand quick effect, when your opponent activates a monster effect, can summon another rescue ace monster to the field. So for example, if you have, let's say, a hydrant on the field, you could react to your opponent's effect activation and then summon, for example, a preventer, which would give you a Book of Moon effect on the field. And yeah, this deck is really strong, has really great recursion, really great grind game, but also the turn 1 that it can do with the set 4, and then having something like the Book of Moon and other Cybers extra deck monsters on the field that can also affect your opponents, turns out to be enough to disrupt your opponents to that point that they can't win the game anymore. So this archetype we will get, but keep in mind that we do not know which specific cards we will get, and I'm not quite sure, though I am sure that the emergency is one of the cards that came later, and I think preventer as well. We will need the full package for this to be the most powerful deck possibly in Master Duel. The first wave isn't that strong. It's super funny, the first wave when it came out in the TCG, the prices for that were really cheap because everyone was like, okay, this deck is really shit. And then the OCG support came and everyone was seeing what this deck was really capable of, and then the prices skyrocketed. So yeah, that was quite funny over in the TCG. But yeah, this is for the October pack, leaks for the October pack. Thanks for being here. Please like the video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And it always helps if you watch my video until the end. That helps the algorithm. So maybe keep it on in the background. That would help a lot, guys. Thank you. We will see each other in the next one.